Hi, my name is Aman Ghawanmeh, and as new immigrants, it's inevitable that we adapt to the new culture and slowly let go of the older one. It can cause grief and happiness and all kinds of emotion to form a new identity. Today, we talk to Manal, who came here as a Syrian refugee, and Parimal, who came here from India, as they discuss their own identity and how they're managing to mold the identity of their children. Let's take a look.
Hi everyone. My name is Parimal Parikh. By profession, I'm a physiotherapist, and currently I own a Namaste Indian Supermarket in Windsor. I've been in Canada for about 6 years now.
Hello everyone, my name is Manal. I graduated from St. Clair College and I am now doing more study to achieve more in my academic career. I am mom, I have 4 kids and I am working currently in the pharmacy.
And you've been in Canada for
5 years.
5 years, that's right.
A couple of months maybe.
5 years and some loose change months.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so welcome, you guys. We're so honored to have you, and today's conversation is so very important to the immigrant experience. So we can start off with a little bit about your experience as immigrants. I would like to know about some memories that you can recall from your first couple of months here in Canada. What were your initial thoughts? Some vivid memories that stand out? Please let me know.
So I remember myself when I came to Canada, I came with zero English. I started with level 1, 2. I didn't prepare myself because I came as refugee, so it was so hard time for me because I felt myself in that time as blind. Really, when you don't know to speak the language that the place you are in, it's so hard part. It is my most difficulty in that time. I don't know, something changed in my life since I came until now, and it was really very good experience for me and I built up many skills during this 5 years. Yeah.
So my feelings was almost similar to her. When I came to Canada, I was totally blank. We don't have the courage to speak English, right? I did my bachelor's, but in English, but still we never spoke English in open areas, right? Talk to the people in English. We always choose to speak in our language. So it was kind of whenever we try to speak English, it just doesn't come out. Maybe there's the self-confidence or whatever it is. It was very hard, and that makes you even more conscious and doubt your own confidence, so plus the responsibilities from back home that they send us here, to study, to achieve something. So that particular, I would say about 1 or 2 months were really hard, just to see where we stand, in terms of our own personality or our own nature. What are we going to do here? Isn't that let's just say that, are we ready to take this much of responsibility? We just came out of our country to the whole new world. So it's it was a scary feeling at that particular time, but I think as time goes, it helps in a way.
It heals.
It heals, yeah.
Yeah. I remember one of the first memories that pop into my head when I recall being an immigrant. It was my first day at school in Canada, and this other Muslim girl came up to me and said, "Why don't you wear the hijab?" And I remember thinking, how bizarre. My whole life living in Jordan, in a Muslim country, no one has ever asked me why I don't wear the hijab, and now I've come here to Canada to a girl in grade 6 asking me why I don't wear the hijab. And it was at that moment that I realized my identity as an Arab Muslim is not the same as hers, which is also Arab Muslim, but added with the Canadian part. I realized that as immigrants, we do things and we act in a certain way and we operate in a way that makes us different than what we were back home. And to segue into today's conversation, which is identity, the identity of an immigrant is something that is constantly changing and evolving. And I would really like to pick your brains on that, how you've become the person that you are now, and how you wish to be for the future. So I guess we'll start with you, Manal. If you can please tell me a little bit about your experience identifying yourself at this point, 5 years post.
I think myself totally changed during these 5 years. My life totally changed, even like me as person. Maybe I told you about the story of my kids. Like before, like I used to force them to eat like traditional food. Because like no, I believe it is the best, it is the healthiest for them. My mom used to cook for us like daily, and I supposed to follow her. Then like after that, like I realized like I'm killing myself, and they don't like it. I'm forcing them to eat like something they don't like it. So like I changed this part. Even like cleaning home, my mom used to clean 2 times, so I supposed to follow her. Like really, I released many part like who said like our family were the best or were doing the right thing, or maybe it was the right thing, but in their time, not in our time. Changing of the generation, every generation has their own rules, own life. So the thing can work for us, it is not like necessary work for them. That's what I realize, and I start to change myself. Even like my clothes. In my country, I used to wear black, or women should wear something black. And I didn't like black, but the social life forced me to wear it. When I came to Canada, I can own my identity now. If I don't black, nobody can force me like to wear black. If I have a right like to choose whatever I want color. Even like my way of wearing my clothes. Even like I am with hijab. But I like to match color, to find something like really different. And now like I can do this part. I can do whatever I like. Because really I found myself like I own my identity. I can own it. It is me. Nobody can force me like to do something I don't like. This part like really like make huge change in my life. Even my singing. As women, like in my back home, they don't like or they don't prefer women work. Women only for kids and home. And like when I came here, the life changed. Nothing like we need like women and men. They're supposed to work together inside and outside. If they didn't work together, like they cannot like live good life. They need it because like the life here different than like our country. If we didn't accept it, we cannot live as like normal life or a good quality of life. So like I found job maybe like after maybe only 1 year and a half, I found job and I start working. And I never ever in my life I was thinking about work. Only like I like to do study, like to do academic achievement, but I wasn't like thinking about like job or working like with someone. Until like really I realize how it is important here in Canada. You're supposed to build yourself. You're supposed like to have your own life. Even like you are raising kids, you are doing many good part, but still you're supposed to make something for yourself. Because like in back home, maybe like those kids when they grow up, they will be around you. But here it's totally different. They will like go like another like country, another city to do work, to do study. So you will be by yourself. If you finish your job as mom and everyone like grow up, if you didn't have like this own life, like your own career, your own work, your own study, your own thing like that you like, you will be like destroyed totally. Honestly, I never like imagine myself. Even like as mom, like when I start working, I feel myself, I got this attachment I was very attached from those kids. Like they are my life. Like I wake up and sleep beside them. We were so attached. Even like when they go to school, I felt myself like really like I miss them in way nobody can feel it. Until like I felt myself it is not unhealthy like relationship. Just like I supposed to feel no, it's okay if they go to school. Like just like cut this attachment little bit. Like keep space between me and them. When I found job, no, So, like now I own my life. I feel myself like little bit, no, I'm better, like healthier, in healthier relationship with even like with them, with my kids.
Yeah.
So like my life like become totally like different.
Your identity changed too, because
Yes.
if you just felt like if you thought that you were just a student, or you identified yourself as a student and a wife, and then you were a student, a wife, and a mother, and then you became a student, a wife, and an employee, a worker, your identity had to change when you came to Canada, and it added bits and pieces to your identity. It changed slightly.
True that. If I talk about myself, like when I came here to Canada, like a kid, right, who doesn't know what's happening around the world, always stayed in the shadow of parents, like mom and dad. They're taking all the decisions of my life. They're good decisions, no doubt, but I don't know anything about those decisions, right? I'm just following, blindly. When we step into this, new world, trying to, make a mark for ourselves, initially we're blind. We're just then, slowly but surely we learn from our mistakes, or, whatever the challenges we are facing, right? They kind of, there's a person, or there's something in us that grows and we become a kind of a mature person who is willing to take the responsibility of their own mistakes, learn, new cultures, new values, trying to make decisions by themselves. I'll tell you one example, that when I came to Canada, right, we wanted to do a lot. Like I had so many dreams, so many goals, just in a basic way. Like there was no structure around it. Oh, I wanted to do this. I wanted to become this one day, but I don't know how. But when you spend time here, when you learn, the path becomes very clear. Like and then you follow those paths and trying to reach somewhere. I believe in that journey, what you said, like we become a different person, right? Right now, when I started, I was a student. Through the journey, now I own a supermarket. There's 18 employees under me. I have to manage them, and and then I have to manage my supermarket. If I'm doing I'm not doing it anymore, but I used to run a clinic. So if I'm in the clinic, I have to make sure that I have to listen to the my patients properly, what their problems are, because first way to treat them is to listen them. Once you know the problem, once they tell you everything, that's when you can find a problem or solution. It's not just sometimes the solution is not physical exercise. It's just something that you can talk it out, those things. So that sense of maturity, it comes within the time, and that is something that changed in me. That I feel more confident about myself now, that I can be the one who can be a part of the change, or who can bring change in Windsor, because Windsor, like God has given me Windsor as my playground. I would just put it that way. And he said, like, okay, this is your place, do whatever you can. And slowly but surely, we're trying. That's all we can do.
Yeah. It's interesting having you guys say this. I could tell that there's been so many changes and developments in who you are as a person throughout the years, based on your experience here. What's interesting about you two is that you're both parents, and I remember, looking up at my parents growing up here. When I came here and I was about 12, they had so many concerns, and therefore they kind of passed these concerns on to me, and they became fears of mine. I remember thinking, oh, am I not Canadian enough? Or am I not Arab enough anymore? Did I lose bits and pieces of my identity? My parents are looking at me differently, and I don't agree with them on these things anymore. We view things differently now. Am I too whitewashed? The biggest fear. Or you would judge other kids and go, these kids are too whitewashed. These kids are, they're too Western. And then simultaneously look at other kids and go, these kids are too foreign. These kids are not Canadian enough. What's their problem? Get used to your new environment. There's so many pressures that we put on ourselves, as well as pressures that we get from the outside, whether it's be from your parents or it's actually from people back home. I think we forget that a lot of people back home would maybe look at your experience and say, you're so lucky.
Yeah.
Right? You hear that a lot. You're so lucky you're in Canada. How is it like? And then you might feel a tang of embarrassment or maybe even shame that you I could be better, right? I could be so much more. These people are looking at me like I can be anything I want here. That's not always the case.
Yeah, and there is a reason we go back to our country. We want to feel like we belong there. But when we go there, they call us Canadian. I mean that's a bizarre feeling that we get. Like, okay, yes, we are, but from inside, the root is our culture that we want to connect, and we want to bring that culture and spread that culture here too, right? But as you said, when we go there, they just call us, oh, you Canadian, no? Yeah,
you don't know what you're talking about anymore. You're Canadian.
Yeah. If I make a point about the kids part, my kids, like we want her to eat. Like I have a daughter, which is 6-year-old, and she goes to school now. So we give her lunch, right? And usually we try to give our food, our cultural food, right? You know, what we eat back home, or what we eat at home. So there was one incident, like a few days, she came back home with the full lunch box. She didn't eat. We tried to ask her. She said she wasn't hungry. We said, okay, but then when it's kept on happening, we tried to ask the teachers, and they said like she's sometimes hiding food and eating. So we thought there is we thought like there is something. So we tried to talk to her daughter, and she said like she's feeling ashamed with the food. I said like, and we were so shocked about it. We thought like she loves the food because she eats the same food at home very generously. And she said, oh, this is what you're cooking? I'm gonna eat all of them. And at school she's not eating. So we try to talk her down. What's going on. She said like when she opened the lunchbox, there's a smell, and she's feeling embarrassed with this. And there's a texture of the food, there's a color of the food. When her friends come and ask her, like she doesn't know how to explain to them. So that's when, as a parent, we also feel like, wow, we are not ready for this change. I mean, this is a new challenge, new thing. We thought like, oh, we as an immigrant, we came, we faced a lot of challenges, and now we are settled in Canada, our challenges are done. And then this thing, no, it's not done. I mean, it's ongoing, and now we have to face another challenge. So we started explaining her that this is our food, this is made up of this, and the ingredients of them, these are the health benefits. So then she started taking that as a lunch, and she started explaining. Now she's better. But this is just one thing that we came to know. There might be so many things that she's struggling with, the cultural value that we are enforcing them, and there is a peer group which is not ready to take that, right? And then she'll be also in cultural shock, I guess, that what we felt about 6 years back. So yeah, I mean, the journey is not over.
Manal, I wanted to ask you about, like Parimal was talking about, is there a struggle that you have felt, or you felt like maybe your children have felt, regarding their identity and the struggles they're having to navigate it?
Yeah, I think like my twins born here in Canada, if you ask them like you are from where, they will say like we are from Canada. They belong to Canada more than like any place, honestly. And it is a reality, I accept it. Because like I know like there's many goodness in like Canadian society, they need it. And in the same time, like I'm trying my best to put like the thing like I like it in my like culture or my social life. I like to put those like good things. But like I'm okay, honestly. Like I'm okay if I see them like more Canadian. I'm okay with this part. Why not? Like honestly, like for my opinion, why not? If they are Canadian, because they will grow up here. And if I think about it, it is unfair for them. It's unfair. Like if I think myself like in future to go back, I cannot bring them back. Honestly, it's unfair.
Yeah.
As me, like how I found it so difficult, like stage in my life when I came here, like to strange country. I never like think myself will put my kids in the same situation. They grow up in Canada and they belong to Canada, and I'm okay with this part. But I like them to grow up with those goodness that we have it. Like I don't want them like really like disappear with this Canadian culture. I want them like to have good thing about us. Like I like this part, and they are okay. They speak my language very well, fluently. They speak it, and they are learning like my culture. They are okay. Like so totally like now I am so good with them. I feel myself fine.
No, of course, as a parent, I agree with you. Like, if they want to be more Canadian or they want to explore the Canadian culture, we don't mind as far as they carry a certain culture value along with them.
Yeah.
So definitely.
Only like I need them like to get only the good thing. Maybe they don't like everything about me. It's okay for me because I didn't like everything about my parents.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah, like why not? Like why we like force them to get like maybe like some like culture thing or some habit. Maybe they don't like it. Why we should like force them? No, like I like them to be as they are. Just like be as they are. I
And
don't
pick
like
and choose what they want.
Yeah, choose what
Also,
they want. Yeah.
what I feel for what she says is like we don't have to force anything on them.
Yeah.
We can just find another way to get them engaged into our culture. Our culture is so rich. I mean, there's plenty of way to get them get the enthusiasm going for them to know about our culture. We have so many things. I mean,
Yeah. But like in the end, they will grow up as Canadian more than like our home.
that's fine.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
fine.
In the end, I know. Like I believe it's just like I release this part. I'm okay with it. Just like I'm okay with it. Just like since they are okay and they are doing fine and everything like in their life like going well, I'm okay with this part. Yeah.
Just telling, like looking at her, we can feel like we have to first make ourselves
To accept it.
accept it that
Yes.
it's okay.
Accept it.
It's alright. I'll be okay.
That's a big challenge for us.
Because whatever like I saw people who live here like 30, 40 years, they didn't do any extra parts. They try their best and they work hard, and in the end, like it's a place when they grow up and they will belong. So they have a right. Since we have a right to
Agree.
be very belong to our country, they have a right to be belong to
To
Canada.
hear.
Yes.
Yeah, agree to that.
Yeah.
Lovely.
They have a right.
Okay, so Parimal, you said you wanted to talk a little bit more about this topic. Please go ahead.
Yeah, so I just wanted to talk about the opportunities that I've been given. I started the journey of Namaste Indian Supermarket 2 years back with a vision that I want to bring the change in the community, make a difference in whatever way I can. Even if it can be a smallest thing, it doesn't matter. I just wanted to do that. Consider that as the legacy coming from my parents, or it's something inherited in me. Unfortunately, they passed away in COVID, so I feel like I have to continue that legacy, and I've been given a platform now. So what I do is like in Namaste Indian Supermarket, I was just telling you that when kids come here, like they're already feeling homesick. Not just students, any immigrant, they are feeling homesick, right? What if instead of feeling lonely, or they don't see anybody here, like no Indian, like not their country people, not their country food, even the smallest thing like hair and care or candies, instead of having that feeling, what if we can provide them with all those things? What happens then? So I came up with this idea of Namaste Indian Supermarket for Windsor, and I opened this, and you wouldn't believe that for the first year, anyone walks in, like I have about 8,000 products, right? So I carry the stuff that let me just put it in a word that I tell my customers, that I have the stuff from the person that when they're born and until they die. I carry all the items. So when they walk in the store, they see like the toothpaste from the back home, the joy on their face. They call their home like right away, and they show their family, look, we have this one. So they don't feel left out, because when every time they call home, their friends, do you get this? Oh, we're eating this. Do you get this there? And they said no. So kind of that's a mental burden on them, right? They are going through mental stress, and so many other challenges in life. Imagine such a small thing like a toothpaste, or I would say as small as like a tiny candy, which you cannot find anywhere in Canada. It's just from back home, and you see it here. Like, what joy! And I have seen that, in a lot of students' faces. A lot of even, the old, I would say, grandparent comes here to visit, their kids, the sons and all. They also get so surprised and so happy. Women, the girls, they come in, they go to the hair and care section, and they see the, small, like the oil from back country, the henna that you put it on your hair, on your hand. Those things, the joy that they bring in their face, and they go back home, they feel like, oh, now they have a place that they can, go visit and get a feeling like they're in the same country. So I try to create that kind of environment in there, where people talk. Sometimes, and if you want to talk your language, you can talk. You don't have a burden of speaking in English, and somebody's judging you all the time. You can get a food which is homemade and have the same taste as you get it on the streets of any city of the India. So those things, I feel like it's very important to do this, because I have seen a lot of students lack of these things. They go into a kind of a mental stress. They get addicted to smoking or some other drugs. Dropouts happens because of that. Rash driving accidents, those incidents are increasing now. So this is not just a small thing. According to me, this is a big problem that we can, if everyone start taking a small steps, we can easily reduce those kind of incident and make a better life for the immigrants or students. And see, I'm just a small part. I'm not saying that I'm doing everything, but I know that I've been given a platform now to do something. And with this opportunity with CBC, I would like to thank you all, so that I can reach out to more people. If they need something, they can always count on I would say me, to be a part of their journey, to help out whatever way I can. I'm very happy to do that. I've been doing a lot of community events, like cultural dance night, Independence Day, Republic Day. Of course, not me alone, with joining hands with different organizations. But what happens with this is the students, the immigrants, they can come to that event and they feel like home. Like let me just give you today's example. Today is one of the festival that we celebrate in India. It's Festival of Colors. At Namaste, I started selling colors, so that if they want to celebrate that festival, they don't have to worry about that. They don't have the colors. How they're going to celebrate this? Those small things are very important. To avoid all the stress.
Yeah, you said earlier that it's those like little moments of joy, and I think a lot of us miss the tiniest little things. Recently, I walked into an Arab store and found this big bag of chips that we used to eat back home in Jordan, and I've never seen it in Canada, and I was so shocked to see it. And I bought it, and I brought some for my sisters, and it was this like infectious joy around the house. Even if it seems so silly and so frivolous, it does actually make a big difference. And now their sons who have never visited or have never participated in the culture that much back home, they get to have a small piece of home that they're introduced to here.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I'm really happy that you say this. It's not how it used to be. It's not like we're completely cut off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And add to that, like once you see something that is belongs to your culture, you're gonna go out and tell your friends, oh, let's go to the store and let's explore this product which is from back country.
It creates
Imagine you
community.
spreading a culture. You know, this is very important.
And now, Manal, I want you to tell us a little bit more about. Earlier, you were talking about the struggles that you've been feeling at work and how they've improved. But I'd like to know, before they improved, how was it like for you working in an environment that you were new to?
Honestly, like the biggest challenge any like immigrants will have, it's having Canadian experience. And maybe like Canadian experience adds something for my identity, because I learned many skills inside this Canadian Canadian environment. I remember myself in many situations, like I used to cry inside like the pharmacy because like I did like some mistakes or like something totally new, like I don't have like enough knowledge at that time. So just like I felt myself like, no, I learned. Maybe like if in that time I quit or I give up, I will not like reach this stage like that I am here now.
Yeah, you wouldn't.
That's like because really like I fight to get this Canadian experience and add something new to my skills. In that time I was focusing only about like my weakness, my English only. But I realized no, it is not like about my English. It is about your passion to work, your ethics, your morality inside the work. It's about like how the good quality you are providing in the workplace. It is not about your English. Like basically we don't speak a lot of English. It's like only like maybe 10 to 15 sentences like a day. It's not like too much, but how it's important to focus on small details. It's many skills. You will get it and you will feel like I was wrong, I was mistaken, like when I was thinking only about my weakness and focus everything in my life was around this weakness or about like the empty cup, just like I was focusing on it. It's really like add something new to my skills, my personality when I got this Canadian experience. Because like really I need it. I didn't realize because I didn't work before. My first job in Canada was my first job in my life. That's why it was like totally like new experience for me. I didn't work before. Like I did some like tutoring like in my back home, but I didn't do like really like work and interact with people. And even like these skills to deal with patient and be very patient, listen very good to them, like provide good service. I learned it there like in Canadian experience, in Canadian environment. Like I learned all those parts here, like in Canada. So like this part like really like I felt like added to my personality. I don't imagine myself like just like if I think back in many times like I told myself no, I'm supposed to quit. It is not a good job for me because like I'm not doing well. But no, I told myself every day I'm supposed to improve myself until like arrive to stage like I'm supposed to be satisfied about myself. Like really like now I feel myself no, I'm satisfied, I'm okay.
So, to add to her, like when we come here, like we have a burden of like be like Canadian, right? Over the time I realized it's more like we want to be accepted when we walk in here, right? As soon as we we come here, we try to act or behave like a Canadian man or boy in our own perception, what we have about them, right? We try to behave like those. We try to put an accent and all. And trust me, talking about myself, I fail miserably on that one. But over the time, I realized that you learn with your experience, and everything fall in place eventually. And then in the end, the one thing for sure that you realize is it's okay to be you. You don't have to worry about surroundings. Just be you and everything will fall in place.
That's so
Yeah,
powerful.
right. Yeah, right.
I think a lot of people who come here willingly, meaning that they chose to come here or because their circumstances forced them to come here. Everybody goes through this phase, I think, of having to choose what they want to keep from their kind of quote unquote like old life.
Yeah.
For me, for example, I'm a firm believer of being proud of the pain and honoring the struggles that my parents have faced, the wars that we witnessed, the things that a lot of people, I think, have the right to leave behind. I think that I add these things as part of my identity as a Canadian is that I can speak the language that you can speak now, and I can appear to be like your neighbor and your friend, but simultaneously I can still have this unique experience of me and my history.
Yeah, to add to it, like, same time we can present our culture to you.
Yeah.
Right, it's our culture, we're proud of it, just experience that too. Canada has its own culture. You can come and experience our culture. Now we're like, in the same community. Let's join hands together and explore each other's culture. Why not? I mean, it's a good thing to do, right? I mean,
of course. Being Canadian is something that I hear about a lot. It's such a unique experience to have a friend group where there's somebody from every single continent in the world.
Yeah,
Isn't
right.
that very Canadian?
Yeah, really.
I think that's something that I think about whenever I think about my parents choosing to come to Canada. I'm so thankful because where else in the world would I have gotten this experience of having a friend from every part of the world and finding these common grounds and these bridges?
Right. The land of opportunity, I guess.
Yes.
For everyone.
Yeah.
It's corny to say, but I guess a lot of times it is the land of opportunity for a lot of us.
Those who are ready to do hard work and wanted to do something with their life, I think Canada gives enough chances.
Yes. I agree.
That's why we are standing here. So
you're both very successful in your own right. I want to know, who do you identify yourself as today? If I asked you, who are you, Manal, or who are you, Parimal, what would you say?
So I think, like, for me, I think I am half Canadian and half, like, Syrian. I feel myself in middle between two culture or two places. Like, I belong to both, like, both culture, both place. Because I like many parts about Canada. Still, I'm proud from, like, the place I came from. Like, I like the final personality I created, like, after, like, 5 years experience here in Canada. Yeah, I know, like, I am proud, like, what I reached so far, really, because Canada add many good things to my life. Yeah, and really, like, it is like land of opportunity, because literally, like, I found myself, like, in many opportunity or many chance. Like, I worked hard to get this opportunity, but really, like, Canada provided to us
the ground
to build
for
this.
it.
Yeah, and to build, like, Canada helped us, like, to build a family, like, to build a good foundation for us. Yeah, really.
So
What about you?
For me, I would just say Canada allows me to be me. I mean, I don't want to be Indian or Canadian, because now I know that I don't belong to India, and here I'm trying to establish myself. So I'm not completely I don't completely belong to Canada. So, but since, like, about 6 years now, Canada has given me a kind of a sense and allow me to be me. I mean, I can do whatever I want now. If I'm ready to, do the work, or I would say to work on my ideas, nobody's stopping me here.
Yeah.
Like, I just can be me. Like, do whatever I want. There is no, as far as you follow the law, you can do whatever you want in this country.
Yeah. I guess what you said there is really important, right? And that's what we're talking about here, is that the idea of the identity as an immigrant is so complex, and it's a journey, right? I feel like we change all the time.
I just sorry to cut you off though. I just remember the one of the song from our country, "Safar ka hi tha main safar ka raha." What it means is we belong to the journey, not the destination, right? So it's not about India or Canada; it's about the journey that we live in.
That's what it feels like. Definitely, does feel like a journey, and I think that we shouldn't constrain ourselves to one definition. I think it could be whatever you want, and it can change constantly, and that's okay. And you can struggle, and one day you want to be more Canadian, and one day you want to be more cultural, and that's okay.
It's okay.
It's
Absolutely fine.
It's part of the fun.
Just be you.
Yeah,
It's
exactly. So I want to move on to some questions here that we have before we end the show. And the first one I want to know, is there anything that you wish Windsorites or Canadians understood more about your newcomer experience? If there's one thing that you can tell Canadians that were born here, what would you want to tell them so they can understand you more?
I think I hope they realize how it is hard for us. Really, it is so hard to build your home, build your family from scratch. I like them to know how it's hard, just because really it was so hard way for us. We worked so hard to achieve what we are now. Nothing come easy to us. Yeah.
That's right. What about you?
One thing that I want them to realize is something that I'm working on it too with the Namaste. It's something that when we walk into this country, I'll give you my example that I wanted to rent a apartment. They didn't give it to me because I didn't have the credit. I didn't have the job. So I went look out for the job. They didn't give me a job because I didn't have the experience. I went to look out for the credit card. They didn't give me a credit card because I don't have the credit. So without job I don't get because of the experience. Credit I don't get because of the credit card, and because of I don't have both of them. I'm not gonna get the apartment. So some things needs to be adjusted, and make it easy for the immigrants just to gel in first, and then teach them the rules and regulations and laws. Let them in first. If they are in country, they're definitely going to do hard work, and just give them a chance. I would say they're giving us a chance for sure, but make the first step easy for us. So that way we already in cultural shock. We are not at that particular time. We are not ready for more shocks.
That's a good
that one thing. And with Namaste, I'm trying to do that. Right, currently we're I have about 18 employees. We just give them 7 days of training and then just get them in. That way at least they have a startup. After that they have their own journey to follow or the struggle to follow. But we're just making the first step easy for them.
Mm-hmm. The second question that I have is, why did you choose to talk to CBC Windsor today?
For me, I like people, even immigration, women, to know it is not enough to be a mom here.
Mm-hmm.
It is not enough. You have to follow your dream. You have to have your own work. You're supposed to be independent here in Canada. The life here totally different. Just be yourself and work hard for yourself and for your family. Then I need to express myself, to speak about myself. Really, I need it. I need this opportunity. It was so amazing opportunity for me. I wanted to speak about myself. Yeah, I like this. I like this meeting. I like it so much.
Man, we liked you. This has been fun. What about you, Parimal?
For me, as I said, I've been always active in from past 2 years, very much active in doing community events and services, and I met you in one of the event only where we were discussing about students, how to make life easy for the students and creating a hub for them so that they can get all the information at one place. And that's how, like, we were discussing the idea at that particular event, right? I have so many things that I want to do, but I'm still new. It's just 2 years for me as a business owner, and I wanted to do so many things, but alone I cannot do it. The people like you, the platform like CBC, recognize those things and giving us the opportunity to come here and talk about those challenges, struggles, problems. It means a lot, and I just wanted to tell all the listeners out there that there are people who wants to help. Somebody needs to connect them, like those who need help and those who wants to help. Somebody needs to connect them, and CBC is doing that as well.
Thank you for watching this episode of Halfway to Home. My name is Aman Ghawanmeh, and this series focuses on the journeys of newcomers here in Canada that are often overlooked. Please check out the rest of the series, and thank you for your time.